Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to build a full application in a single video. So we are going to use Bun, HTMX, ElysiaJS and TailwindCSS. We also will use a bit of AI to support our JavaScript code to write some functions and generate test data. The final result, as you can see, that's what we're aiming today for. It will be a simple habit tracker application, and all of this will be fully functional. So you will be able to create new habit, update it, delete if we need it, and also these individual days we'll be able to mark them as completed. All of that will work without any client-side JavaScript, so we'll rely on HTMX to do AJAX requests for us. So as you see, that's the plan for today, and as there is a lot of stuff to do, let's not waste any time and let's jump into it. First of all, let's generate our application. We're going to use Bun, so make sure that you have it installed. If not, follow instructions on official website. But to create an app, we can run bun create ElysiaJS as a template, and let's call it just habit tracker. It will install everything for us. And now we can go inside and open it in the editor. Right, so now we are inside our application. Let's do some changes and let's add some dependencies and we can start build our application. So first of all, let's rename this to be JSX. Refactory name. I'm going to put all the code inside a single file, so we probably won't need TypeScript support for this. Okay, and we need to add now HTML support. So if we go to the docs for the ElysiaJS, there is a plugin that we need to use. Let's add it here. While it's installing, we can copy this example. So yeah, let's put it under our root handler. So it will be here. Return. Want to return this, and we want to use this use HTML, and we want to add this import. Right. So the next thing, I guess, is to update some JSX config. Yeah, so we need these three properties, and you go to TS config, right? And then we can scroll to the end and edit right here as the last thing, like this. And the final thing is to update our script to run in dev mode. So it was TSX and we want JSX now. All right. Okay, cool. So now I guess we can start, we can try bun run dev. And if we go to our browser, we can now open our local host and we see our hello world. So we will start from here. So this is our to-do list. So we've done this, we added this support, and now let's add our root page component. I created a simple snippet here for the root handler. Let's just use this, and we can add it right here. So this will be our, let's call it root handler, and we'll put it instead of this thing. So it will be root handler. Not a just a function. Okay, so what we have here is we need to reformat this a bit. So I added two dependencies with CDN. So one is for TailwindCSS, and also I included this additional plugin for forms support, and the second one is for HTMX. All these links you can find on official websites. And yeah, it's just for simplicity. We're going to use CDN links today, but there are other options to add dependencies if you want to go to production. All right, so let's remove this for now, and let's add a simple h1 tag saying hi. Now it should be already reloaded, and we should see it, yeah, like this. And we see now that we have no styles because Tailwind by default removes everything. Okay, so the next thing is to add our root page, and let's grab this component. All right, so we created our habits page, and let's now use this page inside our main handler. Habits page, and we reload this, and we see now our beautiful header here. All right, so what we have so far, we have our root handler, we have our dependencies, and we have our habits page, and it just for now has this h1 header. Okay, and now we're ready to build the rest of the UI. So what we want to do is to add a button to create new habit, and then we want to add a list of habits, right? So before we jump into building UI, I think it will be useful to generate some data. So we, from the beginning, we link our application with some data in the database. To do that, we want to add SQLite support, and we need this snippet from official docs. So we can just put it right here. So we will use SQLite in memory for simplicity. We don't need this, but we are going to use this library to support simple migrations. So let me create a new tab here, and we can add this as a dependency. So we have bun SQLite migrations, and what we want is to create this file in the migrations folder. So let's create a new folder, migrations, and a new file, add, okay. And after that, we just want to run this inside our main file, and we want to import these two functions. Okay, so now on the start, it will run and apply our migrations that we put here. And we're actually going to use these files to seed some test data as well. Let's jump into AI support, and we can ask to create SQLite table, DDL, to describe habits, columns, ID, title, description, and color, all non-null, and create 10 inserts. Let's see if it will help us. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's copy this thing, put it here. I guess we can just use a primary key in SQLite. So we have table habits, right? Let's reformat that. Cool. So what we can do next is we can create a simple function to get all habits. Let's say const list all habits, and it will take database, just database, I think, for now, and we will do return db dot query, and we want to put something like select all from habits, order by ID, and we want all. Now inside our habits page, we can do something like const habits, and we do get select, how I called it, list all habits, and we pass db. And I think we can try just put it here. So we want JSON stringify habits, just to see if it works properly. Let's jump here. Yep. All right. So now we have the list of things and we connected our UI with database. Cool. So now we want to create a new component. Let's say it will be habit component. It will input will be a habit object, and we will return a div. It will have, let's say it will be another div here, and it will have h1. It will be habit.title. And then we want to put something like p habit.description. And yeah, we want to style that. So we want class. So something like border 1, rounded, there. And when we get habits here, now we want to loop through habits. So it will be habits map, and now we have our habit, and we want to return our component. So it will be habit component, and we want to put habit here. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now we have the list. We can probably remove this already, and we can style our habit component. So I always forget what are class names. So let's take a look what we have for the border. So border, this is width. Okay, so border, just border 1 pixel. Border gray, something like that, I think. Yeah, all right. We always want to add some spacing between them. So margin bottom, let's say 5. And some padding inside. Okay. So this we want, I believe, something like font bold. Yep. And this will be text small. And we also probably want to make it a bit gray. So let's say we want text gray 700, and that's too much. Okay, that will work for now. Okay, so now we want here to add history of the habit, and here we want to add buttons to delete and edit. Let's start with the buttons. So we want div, and we want it to be flex with a gap 1, let's say. Here we want a button. Let's call it edit, and we want the other one with delete. Right, okay, so let's make it smaller, text Sam. Okay, let's add some padding, margin, let's say 5. And also we can probably add some separator between, span, like this. Yeah, that looks good to me. So we also can do something like edit will have the class hover text sky 700, let's say. Yeah, and same for the delete, but it will be kind of red. Yeah, looks good to me. Okay. And now, as we have this delete button already, we can introduce some HTMX features, and we can delete these items. So to do that, let's start with here. We want to say that we want hx delete, and we want habits slash, and we want to put habit.id here. And we also can use HTMX confirm. And let's say we ask, are you sure? Now let's open the inspector network tab. We can reload this, and we can click here. We now have this prompt. And now we have this request to delete. It's 404 because we haven't implemented the handler. Let's scroll into our app here, and we want to start building things here. So it will be a delete. Path will be habits ID. It will, now we can destructure params to get ID from params. And we want to return, I think for delete, we can just return an empty body. And if the status is 200, it will mean for HTMX that the item was successfully deleted. So yeah, here we need a function to delete habit by ID. Let's create it. It will be const delete habit by ID. We want again to get database, and we want the ID. And we just want to do db dot query. And the query will be delete from habits where ID equals equals ID, and we want to run that. And in params, we want to put our ID equals ID from params. And yeah, that's it. So here, let's log that, console.log, deleting habit by ID, and we want params.id, and we want to call our function delete habit by ID, database, params.id. Okay. So before that will work correctly, we want to add a target. So hx target here will be habit, and here will be habit.id, and this target will mean on the successful response from HTMX request, which element in your DOM to replace with the result. And also hx swap, we want it to be outer HTML, so it will replace the entire node, not just like the internal nodes of that element. So, and now we want to create to mark this div, which represents a single habit with a correct ID. So it will be habit ID. If we done everything correctly, I think now we have delete working properly. Let's see. Delete. Okay. Yes, we have successful response, and yeah, I think the deletes are working now, which is cool. Now we can move to create new habit. So for that, we want to implement a button to create new habit, right? So let's create new component, I think. So it will be const add habit button component. So we want to return just a single button, I think. We just want to style it. So let's say we want a full sized button. Let's call it add habit. And we can now render it here before the list of components. Yeah, needs a bit of styling. So let's say we want rounded MD, background gray, something like that. So hover, PG gray, like this, and padding 5. Yeah, could be better, but for simplicity, let's keep it like that. Maybe just font bold and a bit of spacing after. Bottom 10. Maybe that's too much. 5. Okay. Should work for now. So the idea is that when you click on this button, it will disappear and it will return a form here that we can use as to create a new habit, right? And when we click in the form to save or to cancel, it will close the form, it will render the button again. and we'll do that with HTMX as well. So now we want to add a new component to create our habits. I think I got this form right here just to save a bit of time, because it's time consuming to properly style all these things. But what we have here is we have our label for the input, and we have two inputs basically. One is the title input for the title, and the second one is description text area. And in our create habit component, we will use those two components, and it will be a form, right? Annoyingly that I need to reformat that all the time, but yeah, almost there. And we have two buttons at the end to cancel and save. Almost there, right? So we have our form here. What will happen if I reformat the code? Yeah, that's much better. And let's add this Faker library to generate some test data. I have the prompt somewhere, yeah. Let's do this. So yeah, we have our import Faker from Faker.js. And we have our create component. Let's just use it below our button for now. See how that looks. Okay, so now we have this form. So what we want to do is we want to add HTMX logic here. So when we do hx get, when we click on this button, it will execute a AJAX call to get the form. So it will be habits like create something or form. And we want to replace hx target. We want to replace this component with the result. And again, we do hx swap outer HTML. I think this is defaulted to inner HTML, but I'm usually using outer HTML in all the places. So, and there's an option to override that as a default later. So we can remove all this and keep it as a default. Okay, so now we want a new handler for this habits form. Let's create it right here. So we want to get habits form. Not happy, yeah. And we just want to return our create habit component right here. Return. Let's see if that works. So now if we click here, we have our form. And the simple thing to do as well is to cancel it. So let's say we want something like cancel, and now we want to render add habits component button, and we want to use this path, and we want to now go to our cancel button right here, and we want to on hx get. On this request, we want to replace our form, and for that we need an ID here, a new habit form. Now we want to replace this thing We want to use the ref with the result of the request. So it will be hx swap again, out HTML. Let's see if that works. So we click here, we have the button back. All right. So now we can remove our create habit component right here. And it looks much better. So we open and close that. Now we want to implement save, right? So let's start with the backend. So what we want to do is now we want a post request to just habits. Here we will get body, and we want a new function to insert a habit. So let's grab this thing. It will be db and habit right here. We want to name it insert habit. The query will be insert into habits. Then we want title, color, title, description, color, and values. We want same, but we want to add an $sign before. And also we want to return the result, and we do get. In get we want to pass our title, description, and color, and it will be habit.title, then description, habit.description, and finally the color, habit.color. This is broken now. Yeah, removed. Yeah. Okay. We have our insert habit. Now we want to use that in our app. So here we want to call, it will be const habit. We want to insert habit. It will get db, and then it will be title, body.title, and also description, body.description. And let's say we want color here. We just hardcode something for now, and then we'll create a function to generate a random color for us. So let's say purple. So now we have this habit, and when we successfully finish the post request, we want to return a fragment actually. And the first element in the fragment will be our add button component to render the button again. But also we want to add a habit component, and it will receive the habit that we just created. Right? Yeah. Let's also log that. So it will be creating habit. Cool. Now we go to our form, create habit component. We want to add hx post to the form itself, just habits, and hx swap. It will be this outer HTML. HX target will be this. So we'll target this form and we'll replace it with the result of this call. Okay, probably some mistake was made somewhere, but let's see if that works. So we call save. I'm not sure if that works, like test, save. Yeah, and we have it right here, you see? So our form is now replaced by this element and this element, and it's just added to the page. So now we have this add habit working. The other thing is to implement edit, right? But yeah, it will be almost the same. So now we basically can just grab this component to create habit, and we call it edit habit component. So the ID, we can just use something like habit and habit.id. Now we will have habit as an input. For title, we want habit.title. For description, we want habit.description by default. So here on hxGet, that will mean that we want to close the edit form. So we want just to return habits by ID. So let's do it like this, habit.id. HX target will be this thing. Backticks. And yeah, so that will cancel it. How we implement? We need to add a bunch of roots here. So one will be just to get habit by ID, get habits ID. So here we have params, and this will return habit component, and we want habit here. So it will be const habit get. We don't have get by ID, unfortunately, yet, so we need to add a new query. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so we can use this. Let's call it get habit by ID. So we have IDB and ID. So we have now where ID equals ID. And we want get to return a single thing. And we want our ID to be equal ID. That's it. Let's jump to our app. Get habit by ID, db params.id. And now we want to use this habit here. What we want to do also is we do /edit now, edit, to open the edit form. It will be edit habit component, and we basically getting it by ID and passing it inside this form. Let's see. Yeah, we haven't added this to the cancel button. So edit habit component. No, just habit component, right? And there is a button to open edit. Yeah. It will be hxGet. And we want to use habit.id right here. And the target will be basically this. Wait a sec, what's I'm missing? Ah, yeah. Okay, so like this. Let's reload. Yeah. So now we have this form, and it's opening. Let's create something like test. Oops. Test. Save. We now have this. We click edit, and we have this test and test. So this is all working properly. And I think the final thing is to create this save handler. So it will be, let's jump to app. We want same, but it will be put. So now we will have params to get ID, and we'll have body as well right here. And we want to call an update function. So let's do something like this. We will call it update habit. We want to change this to be update habits set title equals title, and description equals description, where ID equals ID. We don't want color here, but we want to add our ID parameter, habit.id. And also, as usual, we want to returning the result. Cool. Now let's go to our application again. Where's our put? Yeah, right here. So we want to update habit. And yeah, we want to build an object here. So it will be ID equals params.id. Title equals body.title, as it comes from the form body. And description equals body description. And again, when we successfully update it, we want to render our habit component and return it. Cool. Let's see if that works. So we want to add it here. Let's say test and test, and save it. Yeah, and it works, but for some reason we have our button twice, so we made a mistake somewhere. Test one, save. Interesting. I think it's calling the wrong endpoint for some reason. Let's see, we have our edit habits component. Yeah, so it's post here still. So we need to update here to be put, and this will now become habits habit.id, like this. We do edit, test, save. Interesting. So the tiny problem was actually in this SQL query. So for update, it's not and, you just add a comma here. Really easy to make a mistake, but now everything is working. We can remove our logs. And if we reload this thing, we do edit and we do something 1, 2, 3, save, and we have everything back correctly. So yeah, we have our kind of CRUD application for the habit entity itself. Now we want to add this days history. Let's go to our habit component, and we can create a new component saying that it's a habit history item, something like that. And we want to return a div. Maybe a span, like, yeah, let's do a div for now. Let's see if that works. So we want to have a class, something like 5 and height 5, so they are like squares. We want them rounded. And we want them inside a div with flex. So the class will be flex and gap 1. And here we want our habit history item. Multiple of those. Yeah, we want it to be purple, something like this for now. Yeah, we have these our nice elements. Let's go to AI, and we will ask to create a JavaScript function to generate a sequence of dates starting from today and going back 90 days, let's say n days. And for each element, calculate completed flag. That could be that will be Boolean. That should be 30% true, false, 30% true. Let's see if that works. Come on. All right. Yeah, so we create dates in the history, and then we randomly add flags. Yeah, looks good. Let's just grab this, put it somewhere here. Let's just do a div. And we want JSON generate, how it's called, habits data. Yeah, okay. Data 90 days. Yeah, okay. So we have this list, and we can use that to map over and create our habits history item. Let's say we want habit history. We now want this generate habit data right here, 90 days, looks good. We want to map here now, map habit history, and we want to map history, like just day, and we want to return our habit history item. Let's remove this. Yeah, so we want flex. I don't remember actually. So it's like flex wrap. No wrap. Nope. Wait a sec. Flex wrap. Yeah. Nice. We want to pass here our habit, and we want to pass here our habit history, probably, yeah, D. Now if we go here, we want to structure that will be habit and habit history. And here we will need this function for class names. Let's just add it. And why we need that is we want to do something like class names. We want now this to be as our base class, but also we want to add an optional class. Let's say we want background purple if habit history completed. Purple. And if not, we want a default background, gray, if not completed. Let's see. Oh yeah, so we need to remove this from here, right? Yeah, okay, so now we have these random dates. That's good. The other thing we want is we want to get this from the habit itself. So we want to do something like so we can also add a title, right? First of all, so a title will be just habit history date. Now on hover we have this date. And we also need to reverse that, but yeah, we can do that later. I always forget the syntax, but I think it's something like put it brackets and then you do this, right? And here we can now do something like this. It will be habit.color. Yeah, but we need to add correct colors here. So let's say we have sky, we have purple, green, orange, teal, red, pink, green. What else we have? I have some list somewhere. Yeah, let's do emerald. And what else? Yeah. We need to reload this. Yeah. Okay. So this is nice. The last thing to build is when you click on the element here, it will toggle it to different states. So you can mark and unmark your dates. Let's create a new entity in our database. So I should have it somewhere here. Yeah, table history. Let's add it right here. So we have our habit ID and date. And if we have if we insert a value in this table, it will mean that this date is completed. If we delete this element, it will be removed, right? Could be improved, but it should be fine for now. So what we want to do is we want to add an HX post. And what we want is habit dot want habits, then ID habit dot ID, and we can just for now say like toggle, so it will use database state to understand if we need to remove it or if we need to insert it, right? So HX target will be this, and HX swap again will be outer HTML. So now we want to grab this thing and go to our roots. Let's put it somewhere at the end. So it will be post. Oops. Like this. And we want params here. We want to return a habit history item. So we will need to get our habit first. Get habit by ID, db params.id. And what else? So we'll return this thing. Oops. It will receive habit and habit history habit. So here we want to do something like check if habit history element is in DB. Delete it, else insert it. Right, it's pretty stupid logic, so it could be improved significantly, but yeah, for now should work, right? And also we want date here as well, so it will be date, and this will be ID. So we want const habit history. So now we want to get habit history. Get habit history. It will have ID and date. So we want to select from habits history, where habit ID equals ID, and date equals date. Here we want to pass date. And also we want to have the same function but for insert. Where we have it, yeah. So it will be insert habit history, same ID and date, insert into habits history, habit ID and date, and values will be habit, say ID and date, don't need color, and we'll get the same input like this. Yep, moving to our app. We now want to get habit history, db params.id params.date. And then if habit history is null, we want to insert habit history. And we want to do in db, basically same params. Else we want, and again we need an extra function, delete habit history, delete from habits history where habit ID equals ID and date equals date. Okay. So now we do this delete here, delete habits history, db. Again, same input. And let's just create a simple object. It will be habits history result updated. Yeah. End of the video and code gets a bit ugly, but yeah, we can refactor that if we need. So habits history will be now date params date, and the completed flag will be habits history. So if it was null here, we insert it. So null means that it's completed. So a bit annoying, but yeah, it probably will work. Let's update. Yeah, and we now want to add this to be habit history item. Want this to have habit history dot date, and also cursor pointer. Let's check our network. Okay, undefined. Date is undefined. So when we return the function from the HTML snippet from the from right here, we don't have date there. Date, okay, typo. Right, so we just made a typo here. It should be completed, right? Now if we go here, reload this thing, we can do this. And it's all working. Yeah, I think that leads us to the end of the video. I think it was pretty useful. Hope you learned something. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave comments. And also there are multiple ways to support the channel, and all the links are in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next video. Bye bye.